You caught me write my name on the Wild Lights exhibit. Welcome to On the Wild Side. I'm your host, Kyle Shepard. Today we're going to take a tour of this exhibit, Wild Lights, and immerse yourself in Asian culture here at the zoo through June 5th. We're going to meet some of our newest additions who are hatched here at the zoo and celebrate Sianda's 7th birthday and some other fun stuff. So let's take a walk on the Wild Side.
The wall-drip ibis, also known as the northern bald ibis, from regions of North Africa, are actually critically endangered now, only with a small population left in Morocco, numbering just in the few hundreds. These are native to a very arid region. They're somewhat specialized in their feeding habits and stuff, so any alteration to that habitat can have a big effect. In human care, the population is doing pretty well, around 1,000 birds in Europe and in North America. And this species isn't always easy to breed in human care, but we've tried to set them up with the optimal environment. So they have these ledges that are up high where they can build up what's called like a platform nest. We give them sticks and pine needles, which they seem to take to readily and form a nest together. We've had 3 pairs so far claim nest boxes and lay eggs. The birds typically lay only 1 or 2 eggs. Incubation is usually about 27 days on average. This isn't the first time we've bred the species here, but we haven't bred them since 2018. So it's really exciting that this is the first time in 4 years that the species has bred for us again. We're very happy to have 1 clutch of chicks right now. 2 were hatched out about a month ago. They don't look quite like the adults yet. It'll take them some time before they get the red coloration in the face and the legs and their bill as well. So even their bill grows really fast. They'll be fledging the next week or so, actually. Fledge is when they actually leave the nest, and they'll start moving around with the adults and learning how to feed from them as well. These ibis, like a lot of other species of ibis, are actually a gregarious species, which means that they gather together in pretty large groups. They'll forage together, they'll even nest together, but they do have sort of like their own little bubble where they like to nest, so they do stay together really closely, but then once they decide to nest, they have that little spot on their platform that they want to be, and the other birds better stay away. So Colleen is one of our bird keepers here at the Louisville Zoo. She just threw out some fish and some mice for the ibis. In the wild, they eat a number of vertebrate and invertebrate prey, mostly small animal type things that they would probe for in soft soil, as well as insects, fish, crustaceans. So the parents feed their young by regurgitation, which sounds pretty gross. The parents will open their beak, and the chicks will reach up into their mouth to eat the food that they're actually regurgitating. Wall-drip ibis are located in the giraffe house. You can view them from the indoor side. This habitat is African themed. Our Ruppel's griffon vultures are from Africa. The East African crown cranes are also African.
Yes, very exciting to showcase this very wonderful species. We've had the species since 1968, and this is our first chick that we hatched out late last year. So the East African crown cranes have been put in holding for the winter because they're not as cold hardy, and so this will be their first time out into the bongo yard.
The chick looks a lot like its parents, but it doesn't have any of those bright colorations developed yet. So the adults have that really nicely flared out crown that's characteristic of the species. The chicks is not quite as flared out yet. It's more of a streamlined mohawk. The chick will continue to stick around really close to its parents, observing what they do. They show her how to feed, and she'll follow suit. And during the year, the cranes, they will court each other. They're very vocal. They'll also do dances. And the chick will learn from the parents as well. It'll also develop that red wattle below its mouth as it gets older too. So the coloration on its feathers are a lot more patchy than the adults. So the parents are very protective of their young. There's a couple of Canada geese in their habitat right now that they're wanting to make sure don't interfere with their chick. The lineages of all the East African crown cranes in North America are tracked and kept up with so that we have a good genetically diverse and viable population in human care. Inca terns are a shorebird that are native to western South America along the coast. We've had a colony for a number of years. This is the first time that we've bred the species, so we're really excited about it. The keepers got together and put together a nest box because these birds typically nest in burrows in the side of cliffs. And so what we did was put some artificial burrows up high in the penguin exhibit, and the birds took to them really quickly. They don't really do much of a nest, they just make a little scrape in the sand. We had 2 pairs that both laid 2 eggs each. The chicks are really cute when they come out. They're just little fuzzy chicks with short feet, and they start moving around a little bit in the burrow. They just need their parents to feed them. The parents feed typically on fish, and that's what they'll regurgitate small fish to the chicks. It's funny how they'll even feed stuff that seems too big for a chick to even digest, you know. So the chicks will be sitting there with a long fish like sticking out of their beak, just waiting for it to move slowly through their system. So Inca terns, the adults have a characteristic, what we call a mustache. It's just a weird formation of feathers that look like a curly mustache. It'll take the chicks a few years to actually fully develop that. Come and visit, you'll be able to see what the chicks look like because they'll still have dark beaks, they aren't bright red-orange yet, and those mustaches will eventually develop over the next couple of years. And you can see he even still has the remains of an egg tooth at the top of his bill right there. So that egg tooth develops when they're in the egg in order to pip out of the eggshell. It helps them to break out of the eggshell, and eventually they'll just sort of slough off. The second year, they'll start getting more, the red will start developing in their beak, so it'll fade from black to this bright red orange, as well as in their legs and their feet too. And you can see the Inca terns here in the pavilion. They're in the African penguin exhibit.
It's kind of a feast for your eyes. These lanterns are just beautiful. We're celebrating the 3rd year for our Wild Lights exhibit. It's a partnership we have with TIMU Arts and Culture, and these lanterns are all over campus, every few feet. We've got 50,000 light bulbs represented on campus in 70 different displays, 2,000 lanterns. You're going to see everything from animals to some really iconic symbols in Asian culture with the dragon. The Phoenix is probably the largest lantern that we have on campus. And there's going to be some opportunities to engage with the lanterns. So a pro tip is to bring your camera, but the second pro tip is to look for the little stars on the ground, and if you see a lit star, it'll usually say stand on it. Stand on that lit star and you'll engage with that lantern in some way. So the lantern's either going to move, maybe blow smoke at you, it's going to shine brighter, it's going to engage and change in some way with your interaction. Down in the islands we have an entire interactive exhibit, so you can swing on these lit swings. There's a larger-than-life kaleidoscope you can walk into that's kind of like a disco. You get to dance inside and the lights are all around you. There's a cannon that, look for again that star, there's a cannon that when you step on that star, the cannon blows a puff of smoke at you. And then there's a big heart that's interactive in the Islands exhibit where you and a friend can power the changing of that color with the power of your calorie burn. So you hop on these bikes and you pedal, 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 and as you pedal, it changes colors. And it's just a chance to learn about Asian culture. You know, this entire festival is designed to learn about Asian culture. We've got some Asian music to guide you along your stroll on the 1.5-mile walk that you take in the zoo to look at the lanterns. And we've got performances on the Meta Zoo stage, and then we've got some Asian food to round out your full experience and your full immersion into Asian culture with Wild Lights. Be sure to get an advance ticket at louisvillezoo.org. Choose the time you want to come. It's every half an hour from 6:30 to 10:30, Thursday through Sunday nights until June 5th.
What we have here is our Zoo PoopyDoo compost. It's very friendly to work with. It's not hot, so it's not going to burn your plants, and it doesn't smell. People really rave over the compost, especially vegetable gardeners. A lot of people say that it's the best tomatoes that they've ever had. The biggest contributors to the compost are the elephants. Also a lot of our hoof stock animals, like our zebras, giraffes, our bongos. Animal departments use wood shavings for their bedding, so that's kind of incorporated into it to kind of give it a little bit of a looser texture to the compost. So you can incorporate it into your ground, or you can just top dress it over your current flower beds or landscape to add a little bit more compost material into your ground, and it adds as a nutrient as well. It's good in nitrogen and other micronutrients as well. I'll put that down first, and I'll put some other mulch on top of it, and it will leach down in your soil and give it a little bit more breakdown compost in some of the heavy clayer soils that we have here, and it adds some natural nutrients that you don't have to use any chemicals for. So it's very good for that. We sell every weekend in April, and it's all in bulk. We dump it in the back of your truck. Just go up to the ticket sales in front of the zoo and tell them you're there to buy compost, and they'll take your money there, and you come back down to the lot here, hand us your ticket, and we know how much to load up. This isn't all we have. We can always get some more.
Today we celebrated Sianda, our African lion's 7th birthday, our male African lion's 7th birthday. Sianda got a bone for his birthday, and he and Amali and Sunny, our females, they also got a bone, and he came out and he engaged with it. He got a couple of enrichment items as well, including a ball where we covered it in a scent called Skin So Soft because he enjoys that scent. A lot of our big cats enjoy engaging with scents on different enrichment items. Powerful sense of smell, of course. He promptly got his bone and went under the little ledge and turned his back to everybody and ate it. So. Thanks for joining us for this edition of On the Wild Side here at the Louisville Zoo. Don't forget to check out Wild Lights through June 5th and come see those newest editions. We'll see you next time on the Wild Side.